Hey! Start timer. What did I do? Off to a great start then. Today is May 14th. Is it? Yes it is. Yes it is. It's a Sunday. I am Maja. You can find me as sjomajlin on Instagram and Ravelry. I am coming to you today from a dreary grey Jönköping, Sweden. I didn't do an episode last weekend because and that's all I'm gonna say about that. So I do have quite a few items to show you today, or things, or whatever. There's a sound. I'm thoroughly convinced it won't be picked up by the camera, but I'm just a little bit thrown in case you didn't get that. Wow, okay. I'm just trying to think back, did anything like happen in the last 2 weeks that I want to talk to you about? I don't think so. It's been very, you know, calm, whatever. Like normal, business as usual, I guess. What's that sound? I don't know. I don't know. It is the alarm in my neighbor's kitchen. Okay. I'm pretty sure. Okay, whatever. Dropping that. Nothing really special has happened. We celebrated my nephew's 7th birthday yesterday, which was lovely. The weather has been... We had snow in May. I am complaining just as much as everyone else. You know, it is what it is. Whatever. On to the crafting. First I want to show you a couple of finished objects that are not knitting related. I bought a couple of books at a second-hand store. I bought them for their looks. And I bought a couple of larger ones as well. This one is about our former king. And this is from the National Museum of Stockholm. Neither are subjects that I'm interested in at all. So what I did was I cut out the entire book. I just realized I have one left here. If I can just reach it. This one. The Stockholm National Museum one. I actually saved the other ones I just threw away. I'm a horrible person. But this is... I thought there were such beautiful pictures in this that I might want to, you know, cut out and use for something. So I saved the innards of this book. So you can see I just took a knife and cut out the from the title page, and you just cut into the what connects the binding with the shell. I don't know what it's called. And then, so I can't open it up to show you, because then what I did was I took some fabrics and I glue gunned it, as you can see, to the sides like that, on both sides. So these are like folders or binders in various sizes. So this has a blue, teal, turquoisey fabric. So these are slightly smaller, And these two are obviously larger. So what I've used these for is I've stored my pattern in here for like keeping track of. So this is, I will talk about this in just a moment. Excuse me. This is the shuck sweater that I just finished. Again, we'll talk about that. So during the knit, I wanted to keep the pages of the pattern in order. I wanted to have the one page that I was working from out, and then I had the chart on a magnetic board, and I wanted to like be able to keep it all together. So I do have one of those. I put it back in my shelf where it usually sits. I have a small magnetic board, so I kept like the stored pages of the pattern, the working page of the pattern, and the magnetic board with the chart in this, just like a regular binder. So it is the sizing of the book is just about exactly the size of an like regular A4 paper, so it sort of needs a little bit of slack height-wise, just, you know, to be able to get stuff in and out of it. So that works pretty well. And the same with this one then, obviously. In here I actually do have two different patterns. Let me just move this clip down a little bit. I've marked some paper clips with some like washi tape. These are... washi tape is paper, right? And this is plastic, but it's like decorative tape. So in here I have, as I said, two patterns, so you can pull one out, and that happens to be the pattern for the bloomers that I've been talking about. And then I received a pattern as a gift from lovely Hannah, thank you very, very much, for a shawl that I haven't started knitting yet, but I did print it so that I was intrigued. So I will knit this and talk about it more. It's called Polarity. So it is excellent storage, and obviously these smaller ones I've used for smaller stuff, or like paper folded in half to keep track of them. So again, non-knitting crafts is also fun sometimes. Knitted finished objects. I finished the shuck sweater. Let's see if I can kneel to show it to you a little bit better. It is... this is where my natural waist is, so it comes down to there. By the way, I made this dress a few years ago, so it is me made May today. I argued whether to make full length sleeves or not, because I don't... well, I've never really worn a quarter, two-thirds, three-quarter length, whatever this is, 5/8, I don't know, length sleeves, because I sort of think I don't like it, so I've never worn it. But then as I was knitting, I was like, well, you know what, maybe I should just, you know, challenge myself or try it, or yeah. So I made them just as the pattern asks you to. I didn't do any changes with the sleeve. What else? I don't know. I am super happy with this. I finished it just the other day, and then I soaked it and let it flat to dry, and then I wove in the ends yesterday, so it's just off the needles. Let me come just a little closer. I won't give too much away because it is a paid for pattern. I will show you the pattern again in just a moment. You start across the shoulders, knit down the back, and then you pick up stitches here for the shoulders. So you can see it's not an actual shoulder seam, but there is just a slight line where I picked up new stitches for the front. And then you knit down the front, you cast on more stitches, and then you start doing the cables. And then as you come down to the underarm, you start knitting in the round. So what you need to be aware of is, because you knit, and also for the back obviously, you knit part of it flat and then part of it in the round. So if your purl stitches vary a lot, like your purl rows vary a lot gauge wise compared to when you're knitting in the round, it can be a mess. I am pretty happy with, or I'm actually very happy with how my rows turned out. And you do the same for the sleeve, you knit short rows for the sleeve cap. So I can't actually see by the stitches nor on the body, either in the cabling or the, say, let me just show you, the back is just stuck in it. There's no pattern for the back. I cannot see just by the stitches where I started knitting in the round, which is good. And then you pick up and you knit the neck band, is that the word? Up from the shoulders. I am super happy with it. So again, the pattern is called Shuck. Let me take the title page out. I've shown you this before. It's called Shuck. It's by Andy Sutherland. She does many gorgeous cardigans. This is one of few. I'm not gonna say any exact numbers because I'm not sure. This is one of few sweaters that then obviously isn't open in the front, and I am super happy with it. I made mine with Rauma strickegarn, tretrådig. That is sorry, 100% clean new wool from Norway. That's pretty much what it says. This is, what is this? 50 grams per ball, which is about 105 meters. And this is called, the color is 114 and the dye lot is 972. I'm pretty sure though that this isn't dyed. I think this is natural, but I think it is blended darker wool with slightly lighter wool, so I think that the dye lot isn't actually the dye lot, but like the blending board lot, if you will. Don't quote me on that because I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. So how much yarn did I use? What does it ask for? Because I know I bought more yarn than I needed, and I have 2 balls untouched and like a scrap left of one, and I bought more than I needed, but I'm not sure how much I bought, so I'm not sure how much I used, and I haven't weighed it. It doesn't use a lot of yarn though, because it is not full-length sleeves and it is cropped, so. And I've shown you this before. I knitted this on 4.5mm needles. I used the Knit Pro Zings, both the DPNs and the circular needle. I had a very social day yesterday. As I said, we had the birthday party for my nephew, and we also had a planning session for the summer camp that I go to. So it was all good, but I'm a little bit like brained out for being so social. And also on Friday I had a singing job that I did in a group where I have just been once before, so that is like slightly added pressure as well. So I am I'm all good. I'm all fine, but I'm just a little bit out of it brain-wise today. Second finished objects. Grammar. Linusson. Grammar. I'm not gonna redo that though, because I'm sure you all know exactly what I mean. I did finish the bloomers that I've been talking about. This pattern is available in English. No. This pattern is available in Swedish. It's a free pattern. You can find it via Ravelry, but then it brings you over to, excuse me, the Järbo webpage where you can find it. I haven't tried Google Translate it, but it is like, it's straightforward enough that I'm sure that if you do have some knitting experience so that you can work things out, you can totally Google Translate this into English and work it out. I'm sure. I'm actually wearing them, so I will now stand up and pull up my skirt. I am also wearing leggings, so I won't be, you know, showing off too much, but here goes. So I finished these the other day as well, but it's been, even though it's been like cold, it hasn't been like cold enough to actually wear them. So this is what they look like. And I'm just a little bit out of frame, but you can see, right? I did not need as much yarn as I thought I would. So you do remember that I didn't have enough of this blue, so that I thought I would have to use the grey as well. So I started with the grey, working down. Let me just worm out of these so that I can hold them up to show you. You don't have to see that. I ended up not using too much of the blue. So I could have made them all in the blue, just skipping the grey. And there's a uncut thread on my dress. Okay, so this is what they look like. They are a little bit like leggings or stockings that they stretch, of course, and you can fold them over. This yarn blocked out, or after a soak it softened so much, so it's nice to wear obviously, but it looks a little bit floppy, but that's okay. So excuse me, I did the legs a few rounds longer. You do, let's see if I hold them sideways, you'll be able to see, you do some short rows to make room for the butt. It calls for you to Kitchener the groin strip together. I think I've shown this, haven't I? I did a 3 needle bind off so that it is more visible than it would be, but no one's gonna be that close. So I finished those. And again, they turned out to be really soft, so they look super floppy, but that's okay. They're nice and warm. This is just sock wool, or sock yarn. This was like a no brand, and this was something, I don't remember, but it's like regular sock yarn. It's not, I think this was like baby merino or something. Happy with them, no matter what they are, I'm happy with them. And I do have a third finished object, which is the third pussy hat out of an acrylic, like no brand yarn again. I made 2 of these before, and oh, I just knit up the third. I'm almost out with this yarn. I have some scraps left that I will do something with, I don't know yet. Just, you know, just because. So those are my finished objects. I have 2 works in progress. No. Let me just go out off screen for a moment, because it is right here. I've been hello. I've been trying to pick up walk knitting. So I do have one more work in progress that wasn't present before, that I keep in a shoulder bag from India that my brother bought back for me when he was there working for like a couple of months, like 15 years ago. He was there when 9/11, so it's more than 15 years ago. Anyway, I showed you this last time I talked, then I just had, pretty much just had the cast on edge. I haven't gotten much further. This will be a hat, but all this has been done except for the part that I showed you last time, which was just like 2 rows or something. The rest of it has been done whilst walking, which is pretty good. It is quite interesting trying to knit and walk at the same time. The actual knitting isn't that much of a problem. I do have, like, the problem I have is with like feeding the yarn. I'm trying to find a rhythm for that, and that is really tricky, but it's coming along. I am also working on my handspun shawl. Oh, I didn't bring the yarn over, so the yarn is over there, or the cakes, and it's stuck in my chair, whatever. I'm working on this shawl out of my handspun that is going to be for my brother. I'm striping, I'm alternating. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 increase points, and I increase every other row so that it comes, I am in the middle of a row, as you can see. It sort of comes around to be a 3/4 circle or square or whatever. So it's gonna be more of a, what's the word? Cloak. More of a cloak. I think it's gonna be perfect. That is coming along ever so slowly. I am not rushing with that because that's going to be really, really big. So I'm not deadline knitting that. And let me reach over. I am going with my parents to a classical choir concert today, and this will be what I bring to work on then. I've shown you this before. This has been going on forever, because this is what I knit on for, like, going to the movies or going to the theater or whatever. So I've been working on this for a really long time. It is a mohair yarn. I'm just knitting stockinette. It's going to be like a shawl or a shrug. I'm just knitting it as a rectangle, and my plan is to then graft, or just sew, or whatever, the edges together so that it is a loop cowl. I might keep it as is, we'll see. So this is what I'm bringing this afternoon. You've seen it before, but since I am working on it very, 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 very slowly, I don't always show it. I cast on something new out of sjomajlin, which is a Swedish brand, Swedish yarn. It is a bamboo, no, cotton, which is bomull in Swedish, which is why I misread. Cotton acrylic blend, 60/40. So I'm thinking this is a good, like, summer's yarn. You can see those colors there. This reminds me, or when I saw someone knitting out of one of the cocktail line yarns from West Yorkshire Spinners, I was like, oh, but that's, oh no, okay, yeah, no, it's not. It really, really reminded me of this, but it's not, obviously. I don't know, something happened with the ball band on the skein that I am working with. I cast on for a new cardigan. This is going to be like a cropped, short-sleeved, just a little light, cover your shoulders in summer type cardigan. Hopefully. I'm just starting to realize that maybe I've messed up with my maths. But we'll see. I'll have to fudge it if that's the case. I'm knitting this top down, flat. I am knitting some garter for the button bands. I've made some buttonholes, as you can see on the side there. I started with the Turkish or Judas, or I don't really know, but I started with like a double cast on, so I knitted this as a toe, really, without any increases, up to a certain point right there where I did, well, I didn't do a 3 needle bind off because I didn't bind off, but I knitted like front and back stitch together so that I heft them. So I sort of bound off one of the sides, so it makes for a nice folded, what's the word, edge. And then I'm using the contiguous shoulder method. So here is the neck, and this is the shoulder seam, and then what happened to the focus? And then this creates sort of a sleeve cap. And this is where I just realized I sort of was thinking, so this method is free to find on Ravelry, and it is included in some patterns, but then you can just use it sort of as just the normal raglan increase method. But I figured, or when I was thinking about my stitch count and so on, I was sort of thinking that, because with the raglan you increase for both the sleeve and the body. You don't do that with this after the point of the shoulder. Then you just cast on for or you increase for the sleeve. So I just started to realize that maybe my body has too few stitches. So maybe I'll have to just fudge it with casting on an unusually large amount of stitches for the underarm. I'm not sure. But I'm liking how this yarn looks. It is a smooth striping sequence, and it looks bluer on my screen. It is more like a turquoise or aqua. Maybe that is better. I'm not sure. Anyway, so I'm knitting on that as well. And I am itching to cast on a bunch of things. I have ideas, and we'll have to see what happens and when it happens, because I sort of just finished this sweater, which was very fast knit, by the way, and I'm super happy with it. I sort of only just finished the bloomers. These were a few days ago, or a week ago maybe. So I am sort of in that stage, because you know by now, I think, that I don't have too many works in progress going on at once. I usually have a smallish number, although it's been increased lately. I don't know what that means. And then once I finish stuff, then I start something new. So I'm sort of at the stage where I've like processed the finished stuff, and then I'm starting to think ahead. So we'll have to see. So that is what I have to show you. I mentioned I'm going to a concert this afternoon. I'm going to a choir and orchestra concert where they are going to perform God in Disguise. I believe that is what it is. It is a piece written in Swedish originally. The music obviously translates to any language. I know, without having heard it, that the lyrics have been translated into English, and I'm pretty sure then that it's called God in Disguise. You always lose something. Again, I haven't actually listened to it in English. You always lose something in translating lyrics like that. Although, if the original lyrics are in a language that you don't understand, you obviously gain something from being able to understand the lyrics. But we are going to it in Swedish, and I have such high expectations. It's going to be magical. I have this piece of art on a CD that I've had in my car, but I've had to actually like ban it from my own car because I cannot listen to it when I drive, because I always cry. I always cry. It's so beautiful, it's gorgeous. I get goosebumps and I cry, and I just shouldn't be driving in that state, so it's banned from my car. So I asked my parents if they wanted to go to this concert with me, partly because I want to go with them, but also partly because it is like a 45 minutes to an hour drive away, and I won't be able to go. I won't be able to drive back. I would be able to go there, but I wouldn't be able to go back if I was to go alone. That is my expectation, at least. If they are just, you know, like terrible, then, well, I guess then my disappointment would be grave enough for me to maybe not be fully in a state of being able to drive as well. I don't know. I am a very sensitive person and I'm aware, so I plan accordingly so that I know that I don't have to like operate a vehicle when I shouldn't. But I'm bringing my knitting, which is like a... You guys know, if you are going through something that is like strong, you know, emotionally, it has an impact. Knitting serves, I'm not gonna say as a filter, because that means you're like trying to have things bounce off. Do you know what I mean? Or like not come through. But knitting is like a, I don't know, like a blanket. It helps. I'm sure you know what I mean. So I'm going to get this uploaded, I'm going to get myself fed, and then we're leaving for the concert. Next week... No, it's not. I was gonna say next weekend is a long weekend here, but it's not. It's in 2 weeks, so next week is a normal week. I anticipate I will podcast, or I will record as normal. Otherwise you'll just have to wait another week or so. If you do click the subscribe button, is it there? I think it's there. You will get, I will appear in your feed when I upload. You can also click like the little bell, which means you will get a notification. And that is true for every channel that you watch or subscribe to, not just for mine. So do that if you don't want to like be having to keep track of. Like, subscribe, comment. Again, I am sjomajlin on Instagram and on Ravelry if you want to get in contact with me on those platforms. I'll probably be back next week. I will definitely be back next time. See what I did there? Until then, please do take care, be kind to yourselves and to one another.